However, even as therapy sessions continued, Clara's obsession deepened. She began to draw elaborate pictures of the bugs she collected, depicting them in fantastical landscapes filled with vibrant colors. Yet the themes of her drawings often hinted at a darker undercurrent, forests filled with shadows, insects with ominous faces, and scenes that suggested a battle between light and dark. Her parents tried to engage her in other activities, hoping to redirect her focus. They planned family outings, enrolled her in soccer, and encouraged playdates with friends. But each effort seemed to fall flat. Clara would often excuse herself early, retreating to her room with the doll, whispering secrets that only she could hear. As the weeks turned into months, the line between Clara's personality and that of the doll began to blur. Her parents noticed that Clara's voice would sometimes drop an octave, taking on an eerie, almost otherworldly quality when she spoke about Abigail. "She's always with me," she would say, her eyes gleaming with an unsettling intensity. The once comforting presence of the doll now felt suffocating, as if it were casting a long shadow over their lives. Clara's father, increasingly alarmed, suggested removing the doll from their home entirely. But Clara became defensive, clinging to it with a fervor that was unexpected and unsettling. "Can't take her away from me, she needs me," she insisted, her voice trembling with emotion. The atmosphere in Clara's home had grown increasingly oppressive, as if a dark cloud had settled over the family. The once warm and inviting rooms now seemed filled with cold whispers and lurking shadows. Clara's parents, overwhelmed by the chilling changes in their daughter and the sinister aura surrounding the doll, decided they could no longer manage the situation alone. Desperate for answers and a return to normalcy, they turned to the church, a place they hoped would offer sanctuary and guidance. On a gloomy, overcast afternoon, they bundled Clara into the car. The doll clutched tightly in her arms and drove to St. Mary's Church. The Gothic structure loomed ahead of them, its spires reaching towards the sky like skeletal fingers. As they entered the church, the heavy wooden doors creaked ominously, echoing through the cavernous interior. Father Michael, an older priest with a gentle demeanor and wise eyes, greeted them. He had heard stories of strange happenings before, but the intensity of Clara's case was palpable even to him. As Clara's parents recounted the eerie occurrences, the lowered voice, possessiveness over the doll, and the increasingly strange behavior of their daughter, Father Michael listened intently, his expression growing more serious. The priest suggested starting with a blessing of their home, a ritual known to dispel negative energies. He also offered to speak with Clara, hoping to reach the girl beneath the unsettling influence of Abigail. Clara, however, seemed distant, her gaze often flickering to the stained glass windows, where colors danced in the dim light like spectral figures. As Father Michael began to talk to Clara, the church seemed to grow colder. The air felt thick with tension, and the flickering candles cast eerie shadows on the stone walls. Clara's voice, when she spoke, carried an unsettling echo, as if another presence were speaking through her. "Abigail doesn't like this place," she murmured, her eyes reflecting the candlelight with an unnatural glow. The priest, maintaining his composure, asked if he could see the doll. Clara hesitated, clutching it tighter before slowly extending it towards him. As Father Michael took Abigail into his hands, a sudden chill swept through the church, causing the candles to flicker violently. Father Michael closed his eyes, whispering a prayer under his breath. The intensity of the moment was broken by a loud bang. As one of the church doors slammed shut on its own, the sound reverberating like a thunderclap. Clara's parents exchanged frightened glances, their fears now laid bare in the sacred space. Determined, Father Michael continued his prayer, his voice growing stronger, filling the church with a sense of defiance against the darkness that surrounded them. Clara watched, her expression a mix of anger and fear, as if torn between the world she knew and the one the doll promised. The session ended with Father Michael placing a gentle hand on Clara's head, offering what comfort he could. He advised her parents to remain vigilant and to not lose hope, promising to visit their home soon to perform the blessing. As they left the church, the oppressive feeling began to lift, replaced by a fragile sense of hope. Yet, as they drove away, Clara's eyes remained fixed on the doll in her lap, her fingers tracing its worn features. And in the shadowed corners of the church, a soft, sinister laugh seemed to linger, a reminder that the battle was far from over.